Wintertime is the perfect time to reconnect with your pantry, for obvious reasons. There's not a lot of seasonal produce available, you never know when you're going to get snowed in, and I don't know about you, but I like to keep my emergency trips to the grocery store to a minimum, even when it's 75 degrees and sunny. I'm really excited about this episode because almond butter is something that I always have in the pantry, but I really only use it in smoothie bowls. That's it. And I mean, hello, what am I doing with any ingredient that I can't make at least 3 dishes with? So by the end of this video, almond butter will definitely have earned its points for versatility. But let's run down the nutritional benefits really quick because they are numerous. Almond butter is both a healthy fat and a protein. It's high in fiber, magnesium, calcium, and vitamin E, which means it's good for your brain, your heart, your bones, your gut, and your skin. So many wins. One disclaimer before we dive into the actual recipes. As with any manufactured food product, the taste and the ingredients list are going to vary from brand to brand. Some are going to have more sugar, some are going to have added fats, so just keep that in mind as you make these recipes. Taste as you go and adjust accordingly. Winter also calls for warm, healthy, make-ahead breakfasts, and baked oatmeal, I think, is the perfect answer to that call. For this one, I really let the almond butter lead me in terms of the flavor profile. I brainstormed anything pantry-friendly that I could get my hands on that would go with almond, and what I ended up with is this citrusy, spicy, exactly what you want to eat on a winter morning breakfast. The first thing I'm going to do is poach some apricots. If you remember from my last episode when I did this with pears, poaching is a really customizable cooking method. For this poaching liquid, I'm going to do a combination of fresh squeezed orange juice and water with a little bit of sugar. And I'm not going to make a lot of liquid, just enough to cover the handful of apricots that I'm going to use, because as they poach, they too are going to release some sugars, and this liquid is going to reduce to a beautiful syrup, all of which is going to go into our oatmeal. If you find that it's reduced too much, you can always just add a teensy bit more water. After 15 minutes, I should have some plump, hydrated apricots and a nice thick syrup. I'm going to take the apricots out and dice them up into small pieces along with 1 small apple. Then throw it all back into the pot and toss to coat all of it in the syrup. So now we'll combine all the other ingredients, and there's a lot of them. It's kind of a pantry clean out. So we've got almond milk, almond butter, of course, brown sugar, egg, vanilla extract, baking powder, salt, cinnamon, and cardamom. Cardamom might be the item on this list that you don't already have in your foundation pantry, but it is foundational to this recipe. It's delicious with almond, and it pulls out all the citrus that you've got going on with the apricots. Whisk that well to combine, then toss in your oats. Now, my preferred oatmeal, as you may remember, is quick cooking steel cut oats. It's got the convenience of rolled oats with the texture of steel cut. Perfection. But you can totally use regular rolled oats here, same measurements. And add your fruit. That goes into a buttered 8x8 baking dish. And I'm going to sprinkle some sliced almonds all over the top. And then into a 375-degree oven for 45 minutes. And breakfast is served. Now you can cut this into squares to serve it, but I like to just spoon it out into a bowl and drizzle a little bit of almond milk over the top. Now, this will keep in the fridge for a week, so every morning just spoon out a little into a bowl, pop it in the microwave for 30 seconds, and you're done. Mm. The apricots and the apples, the spices, the textures. It's so warming. I am not mad about the fact that I'm going to be eating this all week. Romesco sauce is a traditional sauce from Catalonia, and it's usually made with roasted tomatoes, almonds, garlic, and a particular kind of Spanish pepper called a ñora, which you can totally order if you want. But what I'm going to make for you today is a shortcut, pantry-friendly version that you can whip up in 20 minutes and keep in the fridge for a week. First, I'm going to roast a red pepper. You could also use roasted red peppers from a jar if that's something that you have in your fridge. That is not part of my foundation pantry, but red bell pepper is. And you could roast it whole or in halves, but to maximize the browning and to speed up the cooking time, I'm going to cut it up into small pieces. And I'm only going to use half of it, so I'll save the rest. I'll toss them with olive oil, throw them in the oven at 425 degrees for about 15 minutes, turning once halfway through. The rest of the magic happens in the food processor. In goes the pepper, 2 tablespoons of almond butter, 2 tablespoons of canned tomatoes, the fire roasted kind for that smokiness, a clove of garlic, breadcrumbs, and these are my easy homemade breadcrumbs. I'll link to the recipe below. Parsley. Now the recipe calls for lemon juice, but I just realized that I don't have one, so I'm gonna add a tablespoon of white wine vinegar instead. This is a perfectly valid substitution if you too find yourself in this predicament. And I think that's a win. My pantry came through for me. A little paprika for that extra sweet pepper flavor. Salt and pepper to taste. Now I'll just blitz that to combine, and then I'll slowly drizzle in a 1/4 cup of olive oil and blend until smooth. And that is it. And I'm gonna garnish this with some parsley and some toasted almonds and dig in. Now you have this wonderful condiment and you can put it on anything. Traditionally, it's meant to be eaten on white fish, but I'm just gonna eat it with a little cauliflower crudité. And I can smell the red pepper and the garlic and the almonds. There's so much going on in here. And my substitution of the white vinegar for the lemon, let that be a lesson. Because I think a lot of chefs are kind of anti-substitution. But I want to empower you to make smart substitutions when you're cooking, especially when you're trying to reconnect with your pantry. You know, I'm a firm believer that there is a perfect ingredient for every situation, but there's also a slightly less than perfect one, which will still be really good. And this is a case in point. So this is a version of my sesame peanut noodles, which I make all the time and I love. They're my go-to dinner for whenever I'm cooking for just me and I need something really quick and satisfying. And I affectionately call them pantry noodles because nothing in them is perishable. If my fridge is empty, I know I can still have dinner. I've got my noodles boiling away on the stove, and you can use any noodles you have. Buckwheat noodles, rice noodles. Today I am using whatever noodles the pantry gods deem to bestow on me. So whole wheat spaghetti it is. Now to a medium to large mixing bowl, I'm adding 1/4 cup of almond butter, 1/4 cup of soy sauce, 2 tablespoons of honey, 1 tablespoon of sesame oil, a large clove of minced garlic, and sriracha to taste. Whisk it really, really well and it will blend together. If it doesn't, the heat from the noodles will help make it really smooth. I forgot the vinegar. You want a teaspoon or so of rice wine vinegar. Can you use white vinegar instead of rice wine vinegar? Yes. Can you use hot sauce instead of sriracha? Yes. Can you use peanut butter instead of almond butter? Yes. But that's a different episode. To this beautiful sauce, we'll add our noodles. And we're pretty much ready to plate. Now, one of the best things about these noodles is that you can put in any mix-ins you want. Leftover veggies, tofu. Tofu is fabulous in this sauce. I'm feeling like a noodle purist today, so I'm not gonna add anything, but I am gonna top it with a sunny-side-up egg, because that makes it a meal in my mind. And a diced scallion, just to add a little bit of green and freshness. My too busy to cook dinner and my too lazy to go to the grocery store dinner. So many feelings, 1 bowl of noodles. And that's it, folks. 3 ways to win with almond butter. As always, you can find all these recipes and more on wingredients.com. Subscribe if you like what you see. Follow me on social media at Wingredients, and go show your pantry some love.